Hello, friends. It is our time for our weekly teaching. I'm going to start the time. And this week we're continuing our study of the book of Galatians. And Paul gives us in this passage 3 ways to tell a false gospel. And let's look at them together. So first, a false gospel is troubling. If you look in verse 7, it says, "There are some who trouble you and want to distort the gospel." Now, that word trouble means to throw you into confusion or to disquiet you or to strike your spirit with fear and dread. Do you guys remember the story of Zacharias as he was ministering in the temple and an angel appeared suddenly out of nowhere? Poof, there's an angel. And Luke chapter 1 verse 12 says that Zacharias saw him and was troubled, and fear fell upon him. That's the same word. The false teachers were giving a message that troubled the Galatians. It made them anxious. Compare that to the real gospel. Look at the cross. Just look and see that the punishment that brings you peace was upon him. Listen to Jesus. Just listen for a minute as he's hanging on the cross. He's drenched in his own blood, and he says, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing." The real gospel brings you peace and forgiveness. You're loved and accepted. You are freed from guilt and condemnation. Oh, and look there again at the cross, and what do you see? You see your old self that was enslaved to sin is now dead, hanging limp on a cross. That means you're free from your past, free from bondage, free from slavery. This is all good news, and it has a settling effect, a calming influence on us, bringing us peace and comfort and freedom. Do you see the difference in gospels? Secondly, a false gospel is no gospel at all. Verses 6 and 7. So it's like, I was thinking of this illustration, it's like looking at an airplane and saying, you know, that thing would go much faster if you just removed those 2 wings. Well, yeah, the problem is now it's no airplane at all. Well, if you remove the cross, that's no gospel at all. Or how about, let's make the airplane safer in storms. What does a ship do? It has an anchor. Let's put a big anchor on that airplane, make it safer in storms. Well, that's silly, of course. We've added to the airplane, and now it's no airplane at all. You see, that's what the Galatian false teachers were doing. That's the problem with false teaching, right? So the real gospel is Jesus giving himself for your sins to rescue you. It's good news. We dare not add anything to it, or it's no gospel at all. Thirdly, a false gospel brings condemnation and a curse, verses 8 and 9. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let him be under God's curse. As we've already said, so now I say again, if anybody's preaching to you a gospel other than what you accepted, let them be under God's curse. Now this word is anathema. It means to be separated from God forever in the lake of fire. But compare that to the real gospel. Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a what? A curse for us. Jesus became anathema. Jesus was separated from his Father so that it would remove the curse from you and that you would live under a state of blessing eternally. By believing this gospel, nobody can bring a single charge against you. It is God who has justified you. That's good news. And so, again, the 3 points are the false gospel is troubling. The false gospel is no good news. It's no gospel at all. And thirdly, the false gospel brings condemnation to those who preach it and to those who believe it. I have one question for you. Almost had my 5 minutes. Here's the one question. Please give us an example of a false gospel and tell us why it's false. I look forward to hearing from you.